You're Near the Wild with Matt Becker and John Norris, recorded in Anchorage, Alaska.
Rolling. You're on. You're good to go. Let me hear your Becker. Let me hear your.
It's official.
Oh yeah, that sounds really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
John.
10, 9, 8, 7. What I had for breakfast.
You go to Oriental restaurants?
I do for breakfast. Only for breakfast.
I'll have the
though.
1916 and the
Oriental.
1123. Remember?
Is it Oriental? They call them Orientals.
That was. Oh yeah, I do. They were the ones who built the railroads.
I worked at a internet company. I said something about a gal being Oriental or something, which clearly we all know that's not right.
Ask the pickaninnies, they'll tell you.
She says to me, Oriental is food and rugs. And I'm all, well,
That's pretty much all I go to them for.
clearly you don't look like either of those two. So.
Trains, the Oriental Express, that's still a thing.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
thing.
Well, was that wrong?
John, I needed you there with me. That would have been
Ramen?
perfect.
Doesn't Top Ramen still have an Oriental flavor?
Yes, they do.
There's a flavor called Oriental?
Yeah, Oriental flavored top ramen.
It's fishy.
How do they get
It is.
Fishy.
It's got fish brine in it. If you
Yeah.
read that, that's the best. Is to
Then
read
why
the
wouldn't
flavorings.
Why wouldn't it be fishy?
It also can't.
The whole
be.
thing's fishy,
yeah.
honestly.
Hey, it's 10 for $1. Don't ask a lot of questions. You can use those as loofahs.
Ramen?
Ramen, yeah. For a loofah sponge, and
I
then
feel like,
Like-
you get caught in places.
no, you just
In a
you
pinch?
No, I mean you use it in a pinch. Loofah's like $7. Ramen's 10 for $1.
Yeah.
You can use them for your back, and then give them to homeless.
Perfect.
They're free.
And there's always a chance to bite off a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to make ramen in hot tubs. I
Do
go,
you-
how hot's this thing get? Throw them in there. Once it becomes noodles, it's good to get in.
What do you use the soup packet for?
Well,
Moose.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of gluten in that thing.
There's a lot of salt in those.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
What's going on? Where are we at?
So, yeah, the idea is that we'll do a podcast from the bus in
Yeah.
Alaska.
Here we are.
This is like Into the Wild bus, but in town, so we didn't have to go so far.
It's a backyard. It's not like it's in the.
It goes up against the greenbelt with actually bears and moose.
Yes. It's
This-
not like
Near
it's-
the wild.
we're
We
not-
should do Near the Wild. Like, Mr.
This-
Kenless died because it was in the wild.
Yeah.
We're going to be near the wild.
We're playing it smart.
Yeah.
This is a lot better equipped than his bus. He just had like 2 pounds of rice and he just carved stuff all day. You have Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You're set
Yeah.
up for a disco.
Yeah. No, and here's the thing is you got to remember that wasn't really his bus. That was a public use bus. He was one of those living off the land guys who wanted stuff.
Who's the prank guy who put the poison in there?
Oh, yeah, I know. It wasn't really poison. It was just his lack of dietary ideas. You can't just eat berries.
He's not an options guy.
No.
He went for the closest thing within arm's reach.
Well, it was
Yeah.
paleo. He was trying out the paleo diet. Didn't work out quite well.
It worked exactly how it worked for the
He got really
Cro-Mags.
skinny.
Yeah. He's ripped.
Yeah. Hey, he did everything he set out to do. I don't know why people act like he failed.
Died of a killer six-pack. That's more than I'm going to do.
He didn't want to sit around his wealthy family and watch as he was a loser, so he thought he'd go to the middle of nowhere.
Dude, look at his
If
abs.
more people could learn this.
Look at his abs. They're like in one line. No, that's the front of his spine.
At what point did he think he was losing this game? Because, I mean, he was out there just going, you know what? I don't need fire.
But do you
I
give
don't
up?
need money. I don't need credit cards. God, I could use a steak. I could sure use a steak. At some point, he had to just, kind of like the Paul McCartney thing. Remember, he was with Linda McCartney. She dies of cancer. He was eating carrot soup 3 days a week. And then he
With
finally.
her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when she died of cancer, he went, you know what? I think we're going back to meat. It's all a healthy thing. 54 sounds like a long time to live, but he goes, I'm going back to meat.
He got on that whole kick.
Yeah. Then he started dating models again.
Still my favorite Beatle. I don't know. I
Really?
prefer Wings. I don't know. I like Wings more than I like the Beatles.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never heard anyone say
I've
that.
never heard that. I've heard people say that they liked Ringo Starr better than they liked the Wings.
Really?
Yeah.
His hair?
No, his drug
His,
use.
his choice of drugs is way better than anything Wings put out. So, Matt Becker, we're on your bus.
Yes.
John Norris, you're here.
My first time on the bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a bus forever?
No, I've been
Oh.
in buses before, but
Sure.
this is.
Did you ever
first time
remember
in
when
this bus.
they had seating like this? This is what's called limo seating. This was actually a real, city bus, charter bus, and it has that limo seating where it's actually along the walls. You don't have
Along
to
the
tear
walls.
out all the front seating buses. This is when people actually interacted.
Oh, really? So there was never like rows of seats?
No,
in
this is it. This is the real seating. This
Oh
side,
shit! Look at
this
it.
side
No,
was like
no,
that.
it is. Look at the.
No,
the
this
the
is what it
stamped
was.
Metal right there.
This
That's-
is when I grew up. That's what you did on a bus. You sat, and they didn't have seat belts or anything. You just sat there, and you hoped you didn't crash.
when he stopped short. Everyone went flying every which way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, you met the person next to you.
Original upholstery though, because this looks.
Yeah, no, that's the original upholstery. Yeah, that's I'm going to reupholster it, but I figured that's a wintertime thing.
That doesn't. Tweed doesn't look like something the city would do.
No, this is actually the original upholstery.
It's very styling in the 70s.
Like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I could see
Fine
a
bus.
I could see a porn made in this thing, shot in the 70s on actual film when it was real art.
I know. Well, it induces it because of the poles. They're actually on the open end, so you can actually use the poles for whatever you want.
Headroom for like a beehive or a big afro.
Why'd you get the bus, Becker?
Well, we were going to build a shed to work out in for all of our wintertime projects.
Wait,
And-
hold on,
For, like,
workout.
Yeah, like exercising.
No, no,
Put
no.
a weight set in here.
I'm sorry.
Do my
To-
squats in the back of the bus.
to work on doing more of projects and stuff. Like we put the bandsaws out here and everything because we have another shed, but it got filled up.
And it has no wheels.
No, you couldn't
So
do that.
instead of organizing that shed, you're like, let's just bring a bus in here.
No, but our friend had the bus, and they said they pulled it in front of our house when they got it, and they showed it to us, and my wife immediately goes, "We are not buying that bus." And I said, "Okay." I didn't say anything. We went and looked at it, and then they
Hold on. They were going to use it. They were actually going to make like a food truck.
right a food
Yeah.
truck out of it.
I mean, it's a short bus,
Right.
But it's pretty stylish. It's red,
Yep.
and it has this very innovative '70s seating, and
It's got heater, full electric. Full, I mean, it's got everything. So the thing is we were going to build a shed for that, and as we were looking into doing that, wood prices up here are so high that I told her when they said, "Well, we want like what they want for it, like $1,400."
Yeah.
$1,400. I go, "Hun, we're not even starting on the wood for $1,400." So she turns around and goes from never to, "Okay, we can buy the bus." And she was stone cold sober, I'll tell you. By the time midnight hit, she was drunk as a skunk going, "I can't believe we're buying a bus."
that's good. You went sideways on that one.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Every time. I win always like that.
Yeah, yeah.
People go, "You'll never be." I go, "Yeah, I know." Bam. Next thing you know, there you go. You'll
Don't
never
tell.
be doing a radio podcast on a bus.
Don't tell Matt Becker what he's not going to do. So it still runs and everything.
Oh, no. It runs great. And it actually has a generator thing in it that's worth like $1,000. So they don't make them anymore. It's a military motor, diesel motor. Jared, my friend, told me that. He goes, "It's worth $1,000 right there." I go, "Wow." So the bus has just gone up in value.
So they're just going to sit in your yard until eventually
Absolutely.
it just rusts apart. And
Well, no, it will
falls out.
never really rust. I mean, it's all insulated. It's. I mean, I guess it could, but
Who are you selling that to?
yeah,
Has the undercoating done?
yeah. It's
No
it's
extra
great.
charge.
It's got stuff under it too.
So
Dog cages.
I don't. The fence you walked through to get to the backyard here.
Yeah.
3 of those panels were removed
Mm-hmm.
to bring the bus in, and I remember wanting to watch it come through the backyard because I thought that was kind of a funny thing.
It was like
There's-
the space shuttle going over that bridge in
Exactly.
LA. It was a monumental moment.
It was going to be a tight fit no matter what. It was going to be involved. So I said, well, I'll just wait. Then I hear this like screeching metal on wood, like that dry wood with the metal on it. You can see the marks on the side of the house, the header boards, where Jared expertly
Unbelievably.
threaded the needle between the Galvy pole that you could not remove, bordering
Yep.
my house and your house, and the fascia board,
Yeah, fascia board.
on your roof, which at one point you were going to cut off.
He said, "We'll cut." He goes, "If we take that one piece off right there, we should be all right." And it was literally a 1-inch board. It's a 2 by like 14. So I mean, it's part of the house structure. And I go, "I'm not cutting off that just to get the bus back here. We'll be all right
So
because
this-
it looks close."
The screeching was metal on metal from one side of the bus and the galvanized pipe that was not going to move from the chain link fence.
right.
And the metal on the roof on the other side. So it was pinching through as it scraped
We were
across.
1 inch short, and Jared was 100% correct.
We're pretty sure we moved the house over 1 inch.
Yeah, but we did it, and it was
Yes.
unbelievable. And everybody who watched it said, "I would have just gunned it." Jared went 2 miles an hour just to increase the pain, going. But
What I thought was funny was they rolled it into the backyard, and as you can see now, it's facing the other way. He had to thread the needle and then flip a bitch.
It worked. It's unbelievable that's back here. It's one of the 7 wonders of the neighborhood.
Well, I feel like it would have been great if it just got wedged in between your house and that pole and just been trapped there. And then you could have just turned it into an extra room in your house. Built a doorway, guest room.
Well, no. I mean, it's going to be a usable space. I mean, we've waited until winter to really do much to it. But the main thing is that people don't realize they kept saying we're going to make a party bus out of it. And they're going to go, oh, so you'll be able to drive it like to around town and festival. I go, oh, no, it's never leaving the yard. It's going to be a party bus in the yard.
Then you got to get somebody who's going to like pretend they're sober enough to drive the bus.
No, we got a driver. We got the skeleton driver.
Just leave it in the yard. Then you're always ready to go. And if you drink enough, you feel like you're moving anyways.
No, I mean, we could have people come out and rock it if that's what you need. But what I'm talking about doing is I'm putting screens on the front so we can do a projection TV on the front so we can play.
Movie night.
Yeah, we would just go out and film like going to Girdwood.
Like the,
old Route 66.
the old Road to Bali with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope.
There you go.
Look at that crappy
I'm on
blue
the road
screen.
to the Bali. Never left Hollywood. It started out as absolutely not. We're getting the bus, and then we end up with the bus. So that's kind of how my life has gone. I said this is a needful thing.
Hey, Becker, how long have you been in Anchorage?
I came up in '96 with Doug to do shows, and the birdhouse had just burned down that summer.
Was it that summer?
Yeah, that summer it burned down.
Oh, yeah.
Because we came in, they go, 2 weeks ago, the birdhouse burned down.
Yeah.
And the owner of the bar goes, we took all the comedians there. And we're like, oh, that's cool. So we ended up going, all right. So I worked that. We did unbelievable. We did 3 weeks of comedy. And Doug had to go back to do the Roseanne talk show the last week. So they canceled it. But my contract said I got paid no matter what. So they had to pay me for the last week. Well, Duran, as a joke, then said, well, you still owe us, 4 hours. And I said, well, whatever. Good luck. And so they woke me up at 9 in the morning one day and said, hey, you got to get up. You got to go to work. And I go, it's 9 in the morning. What are you talking about? They had me work day bar. As a joke that I had to go in. And I'd never bartended it. I never knew anything about it. So he said, you got to do this. So I go, okay, I'll do it. So I go in and do it, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what a rum and coke is.
Sure.
That was the joke. Is they go, some guy ordered a Cuba Libre, and I was fucking freaking out. I'm going, what's a Cuba Libre? They go, it's a rum and coke with lime. So I go back and tell the guy in English, order the fucking rum and coke with lime if that's what you want. Don't be a dick. And people would come in and go, do you know how to make a fuzzy squirrel? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I just pour a shot of tequila. You're an alcoholic. You'll drink anything. $5. So that's how it started.
Did you immediately just fall in love with bartending?
No, I wasn't in love with it. But then they said, what do you do in the summer? And at that time, it was just writing in the off season. So summer, you just sat there and bitched with everybody in L.A. So you go, well, all right, I'll come up for the summer. So I came up for the summer, and the agreement is when the snow flies, I do. And so as soon as it got crappy out, I left.
That's how they hook you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You fall in love with Scottsdale, and it happens to be the dead of winter for them.
Yeah.
And it's like, this ain't so bad. It's the same as up here. You come up here in the summer, and you're like, I've been wrong about Alaska this whole time. And then it's like, wait. Spend 24 hours in, let's say, from December 15th to January 15th. Just 24 hours, and you'll figure out whether you can handle it or not.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Well, I mean, it's not for everybody. It's harsh.
Every March, that stretch, like, it's not quite the dead of winter, but it's going to be a couple months before you can see the ground again.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, I hate this place. I need to get out of here. Why am I still here? And then by the time it's August and it's been kind of nice for a couple of months, I forget about it and I'm still here.
No, that was always my
I forgot that I was supposed to leave.
I forgot to leave.
My joke is always why the dividend comes out in October, because there's no real reason why it comes out in October.
There's one reason.
Well, the reason is that's exactly when everyone's about to jump ship and go, I'm not staying for another winter. I can't stand this place. I'm out. And they go, well, here's another check. And you go, okay, one more year. And they blow that immediately with extra money.
I'm going to go get a big TV and it'll get me through the winter.
It'll do it. Put flames on it.
No, look, it gets Netflix.
Yeah.
It's so smart.
Yeah, and the problem with TV now is when you turn it on, half the shows are about Alaska. So you turn it on. I was flipping channels the other day. I'm like, oh, what's this? Fuck, Alaska Troopers. And I know people. I'm like going, wow, I know them.
Oh, yeah. They have the episode in Seward where they're just basically pulling over like drunk person after drunk person. And I'm like, 4 people in. I'm like, I know all these people.
Yeah. No, I don't want that. It's almost like local cameras being put on TV. I go, no.
It's basically just a camera above a road, like looking at car accidents the whole time. I'm like, oh, I know.
Yeah.
There's my car.
We're not that exciting.
Nope.
We're not, and I think they need to cut back on it.
It's how they cut it.
Well, they make it exciting because they're like, oh, it's a race across Alaska. Are they going to make it to the plane? The plane's not going to wait for them. Oh, my God. But then they get there. Of course they make it to the plane.
Well, it's like the deadliest catch, too. All those guys live in Washington. They don't even live up here. They bail immediately when the season's over to go cash their checks down in Washington. I go, well, you know what? We need an income tax for out-of-state workers because these guys are just living off of us. Same with the slope guys. Slope guys have never been in Alaska. I met a guy that had worked on the slope for 5 years, only spent 2 nights in Alaska, and one was a snowstorm. He got stuck here. He goes, this is ridiculous. I go, where are you from? He goes, Oklahoma. I go, I bet you live I can't say it, but you live quite large in Oklahoma with your slope money.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet he spent a lot of money at the
They
bar
make
that
$6 an hour. No, but he was bitching that the one night he had to spend there. He makes $150,000 a year and takes it to Oklahoma where he has gold-plated toilets.
You mean outhouses?
Whatever. Yeah. But I couldn't believe it. He was complaining for one night he had to stay here. I'm sorry. I know it's inconvenient.
John, are you from here?
I'm not from here, but I've lived here since 4th grade. My parents dragged me up here because they work for the Salvation Army, and the Salvation Army operates like a real army, sort of. It's
Really?
very weird. They have like
Not
generals,
not just like
lieutenants.
folding clothes that have been dropped off in a gunny sack.
You know, they have boot camp.
Really?
and like,
Do they donate the boots?
Cadet training.
Lift those hangers!
They do. So my parents got transferred to Alaska, and I remember being very confused about why, and they were just like, well, God wants us to go to Alaska. That's
God or the army?
Same
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
God runs the army. He's the major. And so we ended up here, and as soon as I graduated high school, my parents moved and left me here. So I kind of got shanghaied.
Did you get donated?
Yeah, they donated me to a thrift store. I was just
But
like,
they got some other kids they like better. They took them.
Oh, yeah.
I do the same thing there.
so they left me
Recruited.
just sorting out dirty clothes.
You ever try on clothes at thrift store and then actually leave the clothes you got and just wear out the ones you've tried on? You go, those are so much better.
I mean,
I was not even stealing. It's a straight across
It's really-
trade.
No,
trade.
it was
I mean, they don't care.
Billy Buckner to the
this looks like a
A's.
blue tag item.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll go straight across. In fact, you're probably winning out on this one.
Yeah.
It's probably.
But
I'm
that's
trading
great,
down.
though. That was kind of weird, though, because it was like Alaska adopted you.
Oh yeah, and so
Or you're a foster.
But I've been here for so long that I'm basically, I don't know what it's like to really live anywhere else.
Have you ever lived anywhere else?
I lived in LA for like 6 months between high school and college, and then I took another 6 months off because I wasn't digging college right away. But I didn't do anything. I just drank a lot of beer in LA, and then I decided I should do something. Came back here.
Wow.
No, that's not so bad. That's a pretty good story. I mean, that's the one thing is I always tell because kids who grew up here take Alaska completely for granted.
Sure.
I've had kids go, why do people come over? I don't know, one of the 7 wonders of the world. I mean, it's amazing. Go drive around Beluga Point and you immediately go, whatever your problems are, they're pretty irrelevant. Drive off the road, nobody really cares. There's a lot going on.
Same
There
with
is. It's amazing.
Like we just did the Denali Highway in the RV.
Right.
That was pretty amazing. And I've been coming up here for 20 years, off and on, and that was some. You know what we're doing? Inviting another fucking reality show to start.
No,
right
I
now.
know.
No,
but
well-
I am being honest though.
But
It was amazing. I haven't seen scenery like that. And
No, and you take it for granted. We need to do it more. I
Yeah.
mean, we do. Because, I mean, we're all laughing because all of us are pretty jaded. And, I mean, we've done stuff before. But this is one where nobody wanted to do it going into it.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had to for
Yeah.
Duran's birthday. So.
Well, the great thing about Alaska is you can either like disappear completely, or you can stand it. You can be a very big fish in a small pond like right away. In some respects, but you could also just completely disappear into the woods somewhere. When I was in high school, me and a friend were hanging out. We ended up in this guy's house. He's a new guy in town, and we were talking to him and drinking beers, and he smoked us out. And then, like offhandedly, not talking about it, he just said, "Yeah, I had to leave Utah. I killed my girlfriend." You guys want a sandwich or anything? And we were just sitting there like, did he just say he killed his girlfriend? And it's like, yeah, that's why people are in Alaska, because they are running away from something.
No, it used to be that way. I know. And that's the thing is now the first place. We have a bigger FBI office, I think, than L.A.
that's the one downtown, right?
Yeah.
It's as big as the museum.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
But the thing is you go. So this is the last place you'd want to flee to. It used to be when I first came up here though, that they if you had like warrants for misdemeanors in California or anywhere, it was too expensive to fly you back. So they would just go, keep them. So you get pulled over and they go, we got 3 misdemeanors in California. And they call California and California go, we're not paying. You paying? They go, we're not paying. So you just go, all right, but straighten up because we don't put up with that.
They were doing that for a while. I remember Teresa Obermeyer was it contempt of court or something? She was running for political office. She was a nutbag. You remember?
Yeah, she was
Teresa,
a great.
right?
That's the politics up here used to be a blast.
But they took her and she did time. She served her time like in Arizona. They were taking prisoners from Alaska.
Right. They still do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you go to Colorado. Colorado, get this. So they used to take you to Arizona, which I said was double jeopardy because you commit your crime in the coldest state in the country and they send you to the hottest state. That's double jeopardy. So anyway.
Why did they change it?
Well, because some guys just hated the cold and they started committing crimes just to go to Arizona. They go, I'd rather play basketball down there than basketball up here.
Felon snowbirds.
Yeah, that was it. It was a bit of a vacation plan for the criminal enterprise.
You committed like a 6-month crime every October. You just get someone, you come back in the summer. It's fantastic.
You are nothing but a... Yeah.
He commits it right before the PFD check lands. So then he's got
he still gets that.
Yeah, yeah. No, they'll get it to him so he can buy the Pruno.
Yeah,
and,
were you gone
ramen.
for more? Were you gone for more than 120 days in a year? Yes. Why? You're not going to believe this. Rape.
It's cool. I'm back now.
Yeah, I might get another dividend if it turns out well. If I'm the father, yeah. But wrong on too many levels.
That's the loophole.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the thing. But they had to bid up for the.
They moved it from Arizona to Colorado. Where they're
so what they do is they do a closed bid, and you know how politics works now. It's all so corrupt. We're all pretty much in the gist of it. But somehow these silent bids were both submitted, and they beat it by I think it was 4 cents. Colorado beat the private prison in Colorado beat the private prison in Arizona, which are separate. Beat it by 4 cents a day. And they go, well, it's lower, but guess who's going to Colorado? Yeah. And I guess there's a nice lodge that a lot of our senators who voted on it went to, too. Not that there's a connection.
That is a very unique aspect of politics that is definitely got a big foothold in Alaska.
But to give you any idea, though, what that did for us, that United started doing nonstop flights to Denver.
Oh.
So you could go visit your family in Colorado because they were complaining that the flights to Arizona were too expensive. And now they're going, well, Colorado's cheaper. Not 4 cents a day, but still cheaper.
So that one Nicolas Cage movie was probably written about. Was
Con Air?
Con Air.
Con Air, yeah.
Alaska Con Air.
Yep, that's it.
Must have been pretty great. Just when you could just leave and change your name and nobody would ever be the wiser.
No, did you? I mean, that was the thing. They just did a follow up on studies that people up here. They said that a lot of the transplants that came up here, that was the original birth certificate switch. Was you could get somebody dead in like Connecticut, but we were so not in touch with the rest of the lower 48 that you could come up and go, I'm Susan Rice, and they go, oh, sure, you're Susan Rice. She died in 1977, but they give you a Social Security, everything. Mm-hmm. And the Social Security office is now just getting online where they're going, hey, wait a minute, Susan Rice is dead. How is she still paying? But it's going to be a hard retirement. I mean, it's going to be like, well, I actually paid under her name for how many years?
It's like the Taiwanese Little Leaguers.
Oh, yeah.
They look like they're 18 years old. And they're throwing these fucking fastballs that are knocking the umpire back.
Yeah.
And then they finally, because there were no birth certificates. Who the fuck? I mean.
Well, that was the thing with the oldest people in the world. I mean, the oldest people. Thing. They nailed Japan because Japan has been in recession. We don't realize since the early 80s. We always thought they were doing great, but they've actually been in hard times.
Or there were two cities that kind of lost a lot of records at one point in 1945.
Well, but again, the old saying is if you want to make a comeback, let America attack you, and they'll do it. So what happened is that when the Guinness book goes through and they go, oh, the oldest person. Well, we had one in like wherever they were, Kentucky or somewhere, and they died. And then they went, well, the next oldest is in Japan, 116. So, of course, the Guinness people do a follow-up. They don't just take your word, so they go meet the woman, knock on the door. Guy answers the door, says, yeah, you can't come in, beat it. And so he goes, well, we'll get the local officials to help us. So the local officials show up and say, we need to talk to the woman because she's getting this. And it'll be in the paper. So paper reporters are there. And they go in. Well, they find that she's been dead for, they think, close to 16, 17 years, just laying in the back room. And he had just covered her up with stuff.
Did they put a hat on her and kind of weekend at Bernie's?
He wasn't really even that into it. What it was is she kept getting her pension, and he didn't really have a job, so he just kept living off her pension.
Sure.
So they went to the second oldest Japanese person. Turns out she's dead also. Turns out the oldest man in Japan also dead. They lost, I think, 17 players. It's almost like finding somebody who didn't use drugs during the Tour de France.
So that
there wasn't anyone. So all these Japanese people have been milking the pensions going, I never thought you'd check.
So that island, like, they have that island in Japan where it's all like people who like lived healthy, like never eaten fast food, and they're all like 116-year-olds. Really, it's just a bunch of like deadbeat, like 48-year-olds.
No, it's their kids. It's their kids. It's their kids like dressing up as old people, wearing glasses. Oh yeah, the Holocaust was horrible. What?
She's busy right now.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're trying to say is, it's not as easy to come to Alaska if you've murdered somebody, but still give it a shot.
Yeah, oh no, there's no reason not to try.
North America is like one of those paper funnels you make, and the spout is down there at Seattle.
Yeah.
And then the spout starts at Seattle but ends up like dumps right at the Anchorage International Airport.
No, it does. I mean, we've had. I remember in the old days when I'd sit when I worked at day bar, guys would come up from wherever. I'm from Rhode Island. I'm from Maine. I'm from Montana. And I go, what are you doing? And they go, well, I just got up here. My relatives bought me a ticket. I'm up here to do commercial fishing. Do you know anybody? And I'm like, wait, you just flew up here on a one-way ticket and you don't know anyone and you plan on doing... So they'd end up doing the slime line.
Yeah.
With the...
Back when you could do that.
Now they won't even let you do it because they got so many F1 workers.
Yeah. I like Near the Wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Near the
like
Wild
that?
is actually
Yeah, I
funny.
think it's funny.
Good, because I was like stressing all day about it. And I go, okay, that'll work. No, I mean, we needed something. I go, of course, we can't call it Into the Wild and we can't do this. But yeah, Near the Wild means we still like IHOP, but we. So that's a good place to wrap it up.
I think so.
Okay, and this one will be complete.
I don't know what that
shit.
means. So this for John Norris and the wonderful Matt Becker on his
indeed.
bus, Near the Wild.
And Greg Chaille running all the equipment.
We're out of here.
You've been listening to the Near the Wild podcast with Matt Becker and John Norris, recorded in Anchorage, Alaska on Matt Becker's backyard bus. Engineered by me, Greg Chaille.